Chapter 2 in the text, How Learning Works, is called How Does the Way Students Organize Knowledge Affect Their Learning? The authors explore this question by using a variety of case studies and comparing and contrasting knowledge organization between novices and experts, or students and professors.
When it comes to the principal argument in this chapter, it's that novices and experts are going to use different knowledge organizations. Therefore, when transferring knowledge from an instructor to a student, a breakdown may occur in understanding and retaining information due to the fact that there are very different knowledge organizations at hand when absorbing and communicating the information.
Students tend to organize knowledge in a very superficial way, whereas experts can build rich, meaningful knowledge structures which support learning and performance. With help, however, students can learn how to develop the richer and more meaningful knowledge organizations, which will ultimately support their learning and recall, which will also enhance their performance. How someone will organize their knowledge is a function of that person's experience, the nature of their knowledge, and the role that knowledge plays in their life. Experts, for example, organize information in the context of use and their experience, which provides ways of grouping and classifying the information that will serve practical functions. As educators, we should work to understand the activities and experiences our students have and how those will affect how our students are organizing their knowledge. We should also share how we organize information in order to help our students enhance their own comprehension and recall.
Experts and novices differ through the density of their connections. The difference in these connections is significant between the two groups, and the gaps in these knowledge organizations may demonstrate failure to connect concepts provided in large bodies of information given over time, such as in a lecture series. If a student lacks a strongly connected network, their knowledge may be slower and more difficult to retrieve, and they may struggle to recognize or seek contradictions in various topics.
The chapter explored 4 ways knowledge is organized. The images here illustrate the difference between experts and novices. The connections between and among nodes differ in terms of number and density of connections, illustrating varying degrees of understanding concepts, facts, and skills. This image shows how novices organize information. There are different pieces of information but few connections among the nodes. It shows a lack of understanding of how everything relates to each other. Think back to the medical student example where they were learning different body systems but couldn't apply how the systems work together to affect blood pressure. Here is another way novices may organize information. The linear structure allows sequential access to nodes but becomes difficult if one of the links is broken. The more links on a single chain, the more difficult recall becomes. Think of the art history example where students had trouble on exams because they were memorizing dates but not applying other nodes like global politics. Panel C illustrates how experts organize their knowledge. You can clearly see an established hierarchy which shows an understanding of how all the information fits together into a larger overall structure or context. This allows for easier recall and demonstrates a better understanding of the overall topic. This last panel shows even more highly structured knowledge with additional interwoven links. Experts automatically process information in chunks, and these chunks are used to build the larger, more complex knowledge structures. The complex organization allows experts to access and use knowledge efficiently and effectively.
Developing deeper knowledge structures takes both time and experience. Instructional approaches have proven to help students better organize their knowledge, and research suggests that guiding students through a process of analogical reasoning can help them see past superficial similarities and instead focus on deeper connections and relationships in any various given themes. So that guidance is really key in developing their knowledge structures. The implication of this research is that we as instructors must realize that our knowledge organizations are going to differ greatly from our students whose knowledge organizations are much more superficial than ours. And as instructors, we need to help facilitate a deeper knowledge structure by providing students with appropriate organizing schemes and really monitoring how they're learning so we can be helpful in helping them organize information in a more useful way. The research found in this chapter offers up various strategies that instructors can use to help develop deeper knowledge organizations within their students. And one of the ways suggested was through using concept maps and structures, not only to help organize the information for students or organize the structure of the course for students to better absorb knowledge from that, but also to self-reflect and understand what our own knowledge organizations may be. A second strategy offered up by this research is to be explicit. Don't leave anything up to them guessing, but rather make those connections for them and explicitly highlight deep features found throughout various topics. Use contrasting and boundary cases to highlight organizing features and really lead them in their thinking so they're making those connections and really seeing the deeper picture without needing to find it themselves.
Another strategy is to analyze and lead. As instructors, it's important to analyze the assessments we're creating, identify proper knowledge organization, and then teach the material within that framework. If students aren't grasping concepts, we need to check for gaps in their knowledge organization. We should also share how we're organizing our own information. This should help students' understanding, recall, and performance. We arrived at 3 main conclusions after reading this chapter. The first, it's not what you know, but how you organize what you know. This means that more complex knowledge organization enhances learning, recall, and performance, and students need help seeing the important relationships in order to build more connections. We identified 2 readings that relate to this chapter. The one that addressed the importance of critical thinking fits really well because deeper knowledge structures are essential for this to take place. The second reading that fits was the one that addressed the tensions, or knowledge organization in essence, between academics and practitioners.
So reactions and personal highlights for Chapter 2. We thought that the case studies were vivid, excellent examples of how knowledge organizations work. Further to that, our personal experience, we reflected on how our own knowledge organizations have changed between undergraduate school and graduate school. And we thought that the chapter really nailed it when it expressed that you need to have time and experience to become the expert in any field.
In terms of personal relevance, Jillian deals with novices and experts in her work, and there is a significant difference in terms of how they understand her role providing marketing and communication support for their companies. For me as an instructor, it's important for me to understand how my students are organizing the information in their different courses and for me to help them create complex knowledge structures.